Hello and welcome back to the another episode of Daily News Quiz Analysis for IAS Prelims 2025. It is 24th March today, and in this video we are going to solve some important questions which could be very much relevant for your preparation if you are preparing for your UPSC Prelims 2025 or 2026 or whatever exam you are preparing for. This is going to be very much important for you. Before we'll start our discussion, I would like to give the brief introduction about this initiative so that if you are new to our channel, you will get more connected with us. You know, to be more precise and to be more clear in it, in this video we are going to discuss three types of questions, and those questions would be taken from three different sources. So depending on it, the first set of questions which we are going to discuss here would be taken from the current affairs. What we are going to do, we'll take up the most important articles from the newspapers. We will try to break them down into the simplest language possible, and we will try to derive the possible prelims questions from those particular articles so that it will give the idea which part of the newspaper is important for you, what should be your approach when you are reading your news articles, and how you can expect a possible prelims question from those particular topics. This is what we are going to do in the first phase of our discussion. After solving questions with respect to current affairs, we will shift our approach to the another part. Here we will discuss questions from the static portion. To me, this is the most important part because in here we discuss static topics. Currently we are discussing Indian polity, and in Indian polity we are discussing the Parliament of India, and in the Parliament of India we are discussing the Rajya Sabha. So every day what we do here, we discuss related topics to the Rajya Sabha currently as we are discussing it, and we derive the possible prelims question from those particular related topics so that it will give the proper idea that even how risky, even how discrete the topic may be, a question can be asked in the exam about those topics, and it may surprise you. So what we are doing here, we will give this idea how questions can be asked, and you will get very well prepared before the exam. After solving questions with respect to current affairs and the static part, we will shift our approach to the last part of our discussion. Here we will discuss questions from the previous year question book. This is also one of the important part of our discussion, because in here we will learn what is the vocabulary used by UPSC over the years for framing your papers, what are the different trends they try to follow for framing your papers, and at the same time we will try to learn what can be the different techniques. I'm talking about the elimination techniques which we can implement in the exam if we don't have the proper knowledge of the question but still solve the question, and at the same time we'll try to learn how we can implement this information in the upcoming exam. So this is in a nutshell what we are going to do in this video. Now before we start our discussion, I would like to mention few things here. So I'm sorry if this introduction part will go too time consuming, but I would like to mention that here because I think it is very much important for you. As I told you what kind of questions we will discuss here, so how it will help you. Suppose in the month of May you have exams on 25th of May. Most probably your exams would be on 25th of May. So in the month of May, you would want to revise everything. You would want to have the you would want to go through the static part. You would want to go through the previous year questions. You would want to go through the CSET. You would want to go through the current affairs of the last 1 year and 1 year. But what happens? What is the obstacle to that? It is the time. Time does not permit you to do so. So you are because of the lack of time, you are very much restricted, and because of that restriction you feel underconfident in the exam, and in most of the cases that you are not able to do good in the exams. So what is the solution to that? If you have noted down these questions, to me the solution would be, if you had noted down these questions from the last 1 year we are doing so, if you had noted down these questions, you will have your own question bank. For the month of May. In the month of May, what you would have to do, you would just revise these questions with CSET. You would revise these questions would definitely connect you with the current affairs, they will connect you with the static part, they will give you the previous year question analysis, and in a way it will boost your confidence. And also, who knows, as these are the same questions which, as the sources we discussed, it is the same source which UPSC is going to frame from. So there are chances that many questions can coincide. If not the questions, many statements can coincide. Suppose if not the statements either, trust me, these would be the concepts from where the UPSC can ask you the questions. So what do I recommend you guys? I recommend you, please do note down these questions, do write down, do develop your own question bank, and have your own question bank, and when your exams are near, do revise them. It is going to help you tremendously in clearing your exam. So please follow it, do trust me in this. So with this, without any delay, let's have a look at the first question which we had brought today. As here you can see, the question is basically about the tuberculosis. We had discussed from last 5 months, if I can remember, we had discussed this topic, I guess, more than 10 to 15 times. We had discussed questions related to tuberculosis. We had discussed about the tuberculosis elimination program in India. We had discussed multi-resistant tuberculosis. We had discussed latent tuberculosis. What are the reasons for the spread of tuberculosis? We had discussed every aspect of it. If you will go through my videos, and you will come to know that how many questions we had solved with respect to that. So here I would like to mention that tuberculosis, it has been always the issue in our country. As you know, India, unfortunately, India is called the capital of the tuberculosis. India is called the capital of the tuberculosis. And why it is so? Because approximately, according to the data, 27% of the tuberculosis cases are in India only. So that's why the burden of tuberculosis in India is very huge. Now there is the question, is this burden particular to some strata? Is this burden particular to some class, or is it very much equitable? Is it very much equitable in our country? So if we look at this, if we look at this angle of the tuberculosis, the infection is, we would definitely see the disease. It is, whenever there is any disease such as which is, which spreads from one person to another person, there is no, it does not discriminate. Diseases does not discriminate on the basis of race, on the basis of strata, on the basis of whether you are rich or poor. But what does it discriminate on? It discriminates on what is your immunity. So depending upon the immunity, it will discriminate on. If your immune system is good, if it is strong, then you will have least impact of the particular disease. And if your immune system is very weak, then you will have highest impact of that particular disease. So definitely it does not discriminate on the basis of the strata which we believe in, the social system which we have, but it does discriminate on the basis of biological immunization, the biological immune strength of a particular body. So this thing you need to know. And also, but unfortunately, the impact of tuberculosis is always seen. It has the huge impact in the lower strata. What is this? Why is there? So why there is lower? Why there is huge in the lower strata, in the people who, low income people? Why there is huge impact of that tuberculosis in the low income people? There are various issues related to it. It is not that it spreads only in those people. Yes, of course it does spread. It may spread in people with the high incomes too. But why does it spread in lower income people? What is the reason why there is huge spread in the lower income people as compared to the high income people? The reason, which we can highlight, is here that the out of pocket burden of the people, the out of pocket burden of the people, the out of pocket burden in India, that how much a person spends on any particular disease from his own expenditures, from his own pocket. So this is very huge in India. In this regard, the people who belong to the lower income categories, usually they don't have the insurances which will go for these, which will cover their burden, so definitely they will have to spend much on to cure such disease. But at the same time, when any particular person who is working in some industry, who is working on the daily wages, and he is getting infected by these such diseases, if any person is getting infected by such diseases, and what will he do? you know he has to he has to do what he will do. He has two ways to go. First, he will ignore it, and he will continue earning a daily wage and feed his family, so that they will be happy. Or he will go to the doctor and start spending money what he would had saved, if any, on the disease, so definitely it will impact him as well as his family. So there is this burden, there is this financial burden on the families, that on the poor people. They start ignoring such diseases, they start ignoring the symptoms, and because of that the spread of the disease is very huge in these communities, in such communities, because there is least checking in it. There is huge financial burden. Because of that they hesitate to go to the hospitals, and also the stigma associated with the TB, it is very bad in our country. So that's why they get away from this. So in here the government has various times tried to step in. There are various programs run by government, how the nutritional how the nutrition could be provided to the people who are suffering from it. For example, Nikshay Poshan Yojana has been brought out by government to provide the nutrition to these patients, and various other schemes had been brought out by the government, but still this is the issue. That's why it is spreading in our country. So this is in nutshell what you needed to know about these news articles in the newspaper today. So with respect to this, I hope you had got the basic context of the question. Now with this, let's solve the question here and get more knowledge about it. We had discussed a huge number of questions related to TV, and to be honest, there was no such need to bring it again. But as in today's newspaper, it was bombarded with the articles on tuberculosis, so it became a kind of necessity for us to bring the question here. So let's solve the question now. The question says, regarding the challenges in the tuberculosis elimination in India, consider the following statement. First statement: the rise of multi-drug resistant TB strain poses a significant obstacle to achieving elimination targets. 100% correct. Multi-drug resistant tuberculosis, how it is attained. Usually when people go to the hospitals for the treatment and they are diagnosed with the tuberculosis, so they will be given the medication that they will have to use. That either they will go for the over medication, they will overuse them, or they will use them for the certain time period, and once the symptoms will slow down, once they will feel that they are getting healthier, they will stop taking the medicine. It is that period when the disease goes to the latent phase, and this disease, it is not totally out of the body, but it is in the latent phase. So what they will do, they will stop taking the medicine. Then this disease, it will mutate and turn into the multi-drug resistant, and it will have the severe effects. So first statement is 100% true. Second statement: inadequate nutrition support from tuberculosis patients often lead to treatment failures and increased vulnerability. 100% correct. This is also true. That's why the government is stepping in with various nutrition schemes like Nikshay Poshan Yojana, where they are willing to provide the nutrition to the patients who can coop away, who are infected by the tuberculosis, and who need nutrition to coop away, to get away from this disease. So second statement is also true. Third statement: thus decentralization nature of the India's healthcare system ensures uniform and effective tuberculosis diagnosis and treatment across all regions. This is totally incorrect. That is why there is the need of the uniform, there should be uniform healthcare system in it, uniform approach in it. So the decentralization nature of India's healthcare system ensures uniform and effective tuberculosis diagnosis and treatment across all regions. This is totally incorrect. So this is totally opposite of it. So third statement is incorrect. Fourth statement: stigma associated with TB continues to be a barrier to early detection and adherence to treatment. 100% correct. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1, statement 2, and statement 4 only, and the code would be 1, 2, and 4. So with this, I hope you had understood the question as well as the context of the question. Now with this, let's move to the another slide and see what question we had brought there. Well, here the question is about the Kurdistan, as there was article in the news which basically talked about the complex struggle of Kurdistan. It talked about the historical background, how in reality does Kurdistan exist or not, how they were given under the Treaty of Service, how they were, in a way initially granted that after the breakdown of Ottoman Empire, that you will be given the separate nation, and that would be called the Kurdistan. But that was not totally agreed on, because after that in 1923 Treaty of Lausanne was signed, and under that treaty, they were not superiority of the Turkey was given, the sovereignty of the Turkey was highlighted. So in this way, the Kurdistan, it was not, as it was a dream for the many people in the Ottoman Empire, did not came true. So here, with respect to this, we need to know more about Kurdistan region. So we will understand that through this question. Let's solve the question here. The question says, with reference to the Kurdistan region, consider the following statements. First statement: the Kurdistan region is a contiguous independent state recognized by the United Nations. Totally incorrect. When first statement is incorrect, we can eliminate option A and option D. We are left with option B and option C. It would be preferable for us to have a look at the option 3. Let us see what does the option 3 say. The Kurdish Peshmerga forces have played a significant role in combating the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria. 100% correct. They had helped US in combating ISIS in Syria. So the correct answer to this question would be option C without any doubt. But for the information's sake, let's have a look at the option 2 also. Option 2 says the Kurdish population is primarily concentrated in the territories of Turkey, Iran, Iraq, Syria. 100% correct. These are the countries, also including Armenia. So these are the countries which contain the population of the Kurdish people. They want this particular area to be known as the Kurdistan. For the third statement, we discussed. Fourth statement: the question of Kurdish autonomy and independence has been a major source of regional instability. 100% true. So with respect to this question, the correct statement would be statement 2, statement 3 and statement 4, and from the code given below, the correct code would be option C. So with this, I hope you had understood this question as well, as right now there is discussion over the Kurdistan region, after the fall of the Bashar al-Assad regime in the Syria, how they used to we saw that how Kurdish army, Kurdish Peshmerga forces have KPF have helped USA during during their fight against Islamic State. How the West ignores this issue because they want their ties with Turkey to be strong. So West, whenever it comes to the issue of the Kurdistan, they are silent over it. It shows the hypocrisy of the West too. So with this, let's move to the another slide and see what question we had brought there. Well, here the question is regarding the global maritime shipping industry. Consider the following statement. There was discussion in the news article about as the title was "Time to Float More Indian Ships," and it was the title of the article. So with respect to this, there was a discussion over how China has from 2000 in 2000, how China was just a minute industry with respect to navy, with respect to navies, with respect to maritime ships, with respect to ships, how it was very minute industry. Only it contained only 5% of the global ships, but in 2025 it is one of the largest shipping industry. So it had the highest number of ships China have in 2025. So there is huge huge achievement China had achieved in these 25 years, and this is the lesson which India should learn, and also the tariffs which were imposed by US on the Chinese, and it showed that there is a way for India to overcome this and to have more ships with respect to that. But at the same time, this article showed some grievances with respect to the Indian Navy, as in early in 2025 India was believing that they will have by 2025 they will have 200 ships, but it was very much slowed down, and they shifted their target to 175 ships only by 2030. So definitely it showed some concerns from the Indian side also. But here what did the article highlight? That it is the prime time for India to overcome China, as they have this capability, and it is time for India to have the leading role in the shipping industry, to have the leading in the navy in the world. So with respect to this, let's solve the question here and get more idea about it, more facts about it. Here the question says, regarding the global maritime shipping industry, consider the following statements. First statement: Panama consistently ranks among the top countries with the highest number of registered commercial ships due to its open registry policy. 100% correct. Panama is consistently ranked among the top countries with the highest number of registered ships. Second statement, China has rapidly expanded its commercial fleet, becoming a leading nation in terms of ship ownership and tonnage. 100% correct. Third statement, landlocked countries like Switzerland, due to their financial strength and neutral policies, often maintain significant commercial shipping fleets. Totally incorrect. Third statement is incorrect. Fourth statement, it says the flag of convenience system allows ship owners to register their vessels in countries with less stringent regulations and lower taxes. 100% correct. So with respect to this question, the correct statement would be statement 1, statement 2 and statement 4 only. With this, I hope you had understood the question as well as the context of the question. Now let's move to the another slide and see what question we had brought there. Well, here the question is with respect to the anti-dumping duty. Why we had brought this question about the anti-dumping duty? The reason for that is that India has, you know, India has imposed anti-dumping duty on Chinese goods for up to 5 years. So let's try to understand through this question what this anti-dumping duty is all about. Here the question says, with reference to anti-dumping duty, consider the following statements. First statement, anti-dumping duty is imposed to protect domestic industries from unfairly priced imports that cause material injury. 100% correct. For example, there is a country, suppose a country A, and there is a destination country B. Suppose a country A, it develops some certain goods for certain amount 100, but it will import it will dump it into country B for just rupees 90. So what will it lead? It will damage the domestic industry of country B. So that's why this anti-dumping duty is put forward by the countries to protect their domestic countries, to protect their domestic markets. So first statement is totally correct. Second statement, the World Trade Organization prohibits the imposition of anti-dumping duties under any circumstances. Totally incorrect. This is totally nonsense statement. So statement B is incorrect, statement D is incorrect. Third statement, it says that Directorate General of Trade Remedies in India is responsible for conducting investigations and recommendations the imposition of anti-dumping duties. 100% correct, nothing wrong with the statement. Fourth statement, anti-dumping duties can lead to an increase in prices for domestic consumer. The anti-dumping duties can lead 100% correct. It can lead to the increase in prices for domestic consumers. So with respect to this question, the correct statement would be statement 1, statement 3 and statement 4. And from the code given below, the correct code would be option C. With this, I hope you had understood this question as well and the context of the question. Now with this, let's move to the another slide and see what question we had brought there. Well, their question is about the sickle cell anemia. Let's discuss the question. With respect to this disease also, we have discussed this question many times, but let's have a final look at it. Let's see what does the question say. The question says, with reference to sickle cell anemia in India, consider the following statements. First statement, sickle cell anemia is a genetic disorder caused by a mutation in the beta globin gene, leading to the production of abnormal hemoglobin. 100% correct. Second statement, India has launched the National Sickle Cell Anemia Elimination Mission with the goal of eliminating the disease by 2030. 100% correct. Please do remember these dates. You will often get confused with these dates. Even there are very small amount of questions which talk about the dates, but often we will get confused over it. So we need to know about such dates. Third statement, the disease is predominantly prevalent among the tribal populations in India. Correct. Fourth statement, hydroxyurea is the only available treatment for sickle cell anemia and it provides a complex cure. Totally incorrect. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1, statement 2 and statement 3 only. And from the code given below, the correct code would be option C. With this, we had completed our discussion with respect to the questions from the current affairs. Now let's move to the another part of our discussion where we will solve a question from the static portion. So currently we are discussing the Rajya Sabha in the Indian Parliament, and today we are going to discuss the financial powers of the Rajya Sabha. What are the some financial powers of the Rajya Sabha? So with respect to this, you need to know with respect to money bill, there is no financial power of Rajya Sabha. With respect to the money bill, they don't enjoy any financial power. But with respect to the financial bills, if taken from the consolidated fund of India or other, they enjoy the same powers as that of the Lok Sabha. So let's analyze all this information now in this question, and let's try to solve it. This is in a nutshell about it. So question says, regarding the financial powers of the Rajya Sabha in the Indian Parliament, consider the following statement. First statement, the Rajya Sabha has the power to amend or reject money bill. Totally incorrect. First statement is incorrect. That means A and C is incorrect. Second statement, the Rajya Sabha can discuss the annual budget but cannot vote on the demand of grants. 100% correct. It cannot vote on demand for grants. So second statement is true. Third statement, financial bills that are not money bills can be introduced in the Rajya Sabha. 100% correct. Third statement is true. Fourth statement, the Rajya Sabha's recommendation on a money bill are binding on the Lok Sabha. Totally incorrect. So with respect to this question, the correct statement would be statement 2 and statement 3. And from the given options below, the correct option would be option B. With this, I hope you had understood the question. It has power with respect to the financial bills. With respect to the annual budget, it can discuss but cannot vote on the demand for grants. So please do remember these points. These could be very much important for your prelims exam. With this, let's move to the last part of our discussion, where we will solve a previous year question. Currently we are discussing the world geography. These questions were asked, and here see what question was asked. The question says, which one among the following rivers is the longest? It is definitely Amazon, which is the longest. So with this, we complete our today's discussion. I hope you would have liked the video. I hope you would share it with your friends, and I definitely hope you would subscribe the channel. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.